May it please the viewers. So I threatened I would watch the Gwyneth Paltrow testimony in its entirety and come back with some comments. So here I am. I sat through all 2 hours of it last night, in part because I have no social life and in part because the basketball games were pretty boring. So here's what I thought. And I think maybe this is going to be a little controversial, but my view is that Gwyneth Paltrow won the case yesterday with her testimony. I thought she did great. I think she totally won the case. I would be very surprised now if the plaintiff wins. Let's just talk about her for a minute. I said that how she connected with the jury would be very important, and I think she did a good job. She was straightforward, she was steadfast, she was credible, she was relatable, she was likable, she was not evasive, she was not argumentative, and I gotta say, she was even kind of charming. I mean, she was very soft spoken. Almost seemed a little nerdy, to tell you the truth, especially when she put on the glasses. I thought there was some pretty serious NA, but she was quiet and she answered the questions in a forthright manner, which I think was just so important, and never once got argumentative. I don't really think you could have asked her to do a better job. So her performance, I give an A. Now, the lawyer who questioned her had some problems. And I assume from what I saw that that lawyer was picked specifically for the task of questioning Gwyneth Paltrow. I gather she conducted the deposition of Paltrow several years ago, and she came back to do this examination. I don't think I had seen her do anything in the trial before that, and I wonder about the choice. She did what I call a friendly cross-examination, where you don't confront the witness so much, but you try to become friends with the witness. I thought she really overdid that. She frankly came pretty close to fawning over a star, which I don't think is the look she wanted. She conceded at one point, the examining lawyer, that she didn't know anything about skiing. I don't know why she would concede that. It depletes her credibility. And I don't understand why, if you have a case about a ski accident in the state of Utah, you can't find a lawyer who knows something about skiing. Isn't that part of the credentials of the kind of lawyer you would want to handle that case? So they looked all around in the state of Utah and came up with a lawyer who doesn't know anything about skiing. All they had to do was go down to a ski resort, fall down, and wait for the lawyers to flock around and find somebody who knew about skiing. I don't get that, and I don't know why she admitted it. She also conceded to Gwyneth Paltrow that Paltrow probably believes the story she is telling. I don't know why she conceded that. It's their point of view that the story Paltrow is telling is not true. I don't know why you would concede that she believes it. She tried at one point to have Gwyneth Paltrow come off the witness stand, come down and do a demonstration. The judge shot that down. It really disrupted the examination. You could tell the lawyer didn't know where to go from there. She grabbed a microphone. She started walking around the courtroom like she was Sally Jesse Raphael, if any of you remember her. I mean, it was a little bit absurd and a bad look. Then, at the end, with the jury out of the room, fortunately, the lawyer accused Gwyneth Paltrow of lying, but then very quickly walked it back and said she wasn't accusing her of lying. And listen, you have to make a choice. You're either accuse the opposition of lying or you don't. But you can't be fudgy about it. You can't sort of accuse somebody about lying. You can't do it and take it back. If you're going to go there, you have to go there and you have to stay there. So I had a lot of problems with the examining lawyer here. I didn't think it was as good of a job as you could have done with Paltrow. Let's talk about a few of the substantive points they covered, just by way of example. There was some time spent on the cost of the private ski instructors that Gwyneth Paltrow used, I guess, to make her look fancy, but I don't think that lands with a jury pool of people who live in Park City, Utah, and know how expensive those resorts are. I don't think they're going to care about that. They tried to make a lot of Gwyneth Paltrow getting angry after the collision and cursing and using the F word To me, that only supports Paltrow's story, that she felt like she had been run into and therefore was angry. I don't understand how that supports the plaintiff's story at all. Same with Gwyneth Paltrow leaving the scene. They make a big deal out of that, but I don't understand if Paltrow had been the one to run into the other guy, I don't think she would have been so quick to leave the scene. I think that's a problem. They pointed out that Gwyneth Paltrow went and got a massage, but here too, this kind of backfired because there's a text that's really helpful that they showed, that Paltrow's lawyer showed in examination. She texted her boyfriend at the time and said, "That guy sort of hurt me. I'm going to go get a massage." And I think the combination of Paltrow on the Hill vehemently cursing at the guy, saying, "You ran into me," and then an hour or so later, down off the mountain, texting that "that guy hurt me," I think those are really good indicators of her present sense impression that she had been run into. And it gives her credibility to the story she is still telling. They went after her on the counterclaim because she testified she's only asking for $1, and they have this great gotcha of, "Oh, but you're asking for attorney's fees too, and that's more than $1, so you're not being truthful." I thought Paltrow handled this correctly. She said, "I was only thinking of the $1 because that's the only thing I would get. Attorney's fees would be for my attorneys. The $1 would be for me. So I'm only asking for $1. I thought that handled it really well. I do think damages are distinct from attorney's fees. I think that's the way most litigants think of it. So I didn't think that point worked for the plaintiff. So I just don't think any of these punches landed. It was part of their strategy to put Gwyneth Paltrow on the stand during plaintiff's case. And I support that strategy. I do that kind of thing all the time. You call the adverse witness as part of your case. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the friendly cross-examination, but they got to have something to show for it. And I don't think they have anything to show for it. I think what came out of this examination of Gwyneth Paltrow was she believes she was run into. And I think it's going to be really hard to establish that she's wrong. Because remember, the plaintiff has the burden of proof. So even when the other guy takes the stand and says, "No, no, 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 she ran into me," the jury has to believe now that she was lying or that she was mistaken, really seriously mistaken. And I don't know why they would believe that. I just want to say something about Gwyneth Paltrow's lawyer. He's been a little odd. He has a certain way about him that's been distracting at times. I thought he did a really good job yesterday. He handled having a celebrity witness on the stand very well. He made a number of objections. Many of them were sustained. He stood to his client's defense many times. He got her back. I bet he made her feel pretty good, like she was well represented. That's an important part of what he was there to do. And substantively, I thought his questions of her were okay, but what I thought he did a real good job of was laying out a preview of what they're going to see next week. So they let the jury know that her husband and her children are going to testify next week. The ski instructor, who's a very important witness, is going to testify next week. And they have experts who are going to contradict the other experts that are going to testify next week. And they also hinted that they have a computer animation that they want to play showing Gwyneth Paltrow's view of the event. Really good, effective job of laying that all out at the end of the week so the jury doesn't go home thinking, "This is it, now I can decide." The jury thinks, "Well, now I've seen her and she's got a lot of other evidence I'm going to hear next week." I thought that's a very good job of laying it out. So there you have it. I thought that examination of her was a win for Gwyneth Paltrow. I think it may be an insurmountable win because, as I've been saying, if the jury believes her, then throw out the experts, throw out the injury, throw out the other evidence. If the jury believed her, and I tend to believe her, they're going to end up siding with her. Still, we're going to watch the rest of the case. I never come to a final decision until I see all the evidence, and most jurors don't either. So a lot more to watch next week. Have a good weekend.